Devin Zoolander and Chandra Rhyme, take one, and action. Okay, here we go. Yo, what do they call me? They call me Devin Zoolander. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Yeah, they call me Devin Zoolander. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. And I look good on camera. You know I look good on camera. Yo, what's up? It's your homie, Devin Zoolander, coming all the way live from my domicile, and you're watching the Devin Zoolander Show. And today is a great privilege because I have with me one of the dopest artists that I have met on social media, but now in real life, she is here, and a graduate of Point Park University, originally from Flint, Michigan, also someone who is a trained dancer and who was just involved in a lot of different creative things. Brothers and sisters, please put your hands together for the one and only Chandra Rhyme. Yeah.
Hey, everyone.
What's up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, Chandra, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Where are you from, and when did you come to Pittsburgh?
Absolutely. Well, I was born in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and raised in Flint, Michigan. And what brought me here was actually attending college at Point Park University. But I've been here, I want to say back in 2006 for dance, of course, dance convention. But it's just funny how life brings you full circle. Mm-hmm. And you end up where you were, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a nice intro right there. So when did you graduate from Point Park?
I graduated in 2016. So, yeah, that brings back a lot of memories of graduation for sure.
Now, if you could you just tell me a little bit about what your major was at Point Park and what your experience was like while you were there?
I had a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Dance, and that was my major. And my experience there was rehearse, perform, and academics.
Yeah, right.
No, but that's just on a more jokingly side. But it was very immersed in a lot of academics, core dance classes, and a lot of training and desensitization, is that a word? I think it is.
Yeah.
Just to get all of our bad habits out, introduce real world concepts that we'll need to gain that experience to become professionals at what we train so hard for.
Wow, that's kind of deep, because I think a lot of times when I think about doing a major that is focused around the performing arts, I don't necessarily think about what you have to do internally in order to get ready. I often think about, all right, so you have to rehearse and you have to be someone that works well with others, but I didn't think about that. So I like that they do that at Point Park.
Oh, yeah, it's a lot, especially like auditioning. You always get... you're from Point Park, I can tell.
Right.
So it's good because they really nail that training in. And I really enjoyed my time there and met a lot of great people. And it helped to build my craft to where I am today.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad that you had a great experience at Point Park. And
thank you.
Yeah, and I'm also glad that you stuck around in the area and it wasn't kind of like, all right, y'all got 4 years out of me like the Army or something like that, and then I'm dipping. Like, you actually...
It was close.
I understand. I wouldn't even be mad at you. But what ultimately made you stay?
What made me stay, I was on my way to New York. I love New York, but what made me stay was, of course, family, my mom, and just getting a professional job here as well, and just teaching dance, teaching ballet, and just really expanding my dance career. But that took a turn when I just played more with music, got in tune with my own artistry, and wanted to take that initiative in a more individualized way. So that's what made me stay here. And I think the universe just wanted me here as well to embark on that journey.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to find a home here. I think that the 4 years that you spent in college definitely put you onto the scene here as far as artistically and just what's going on. And it seems like your time here has also been coinciding with a lot of different demonstrations for Black Lives Matter and a lot of different just movements in the city that represents a lot of energy that maybe we haven't seen in quite some time. So can you talk a little bit about how the events, the different things that have happened with protest and police brutality and uprisings, how has that impacted you personally, and also how has that impacted your artistry?
Oh man, I feel like we as the black community as a whole, we've been through this
Mm-hmm.
generationally. It's just been something that unfortunately has been a struggle for us. But I feel that it has impacted my artistry and as a way to rise above that, all of the brutality that's been happening, and praying for our brothers and sisters, and really representation, as a black artist, as a black woman in music, to really get that out there. Your representation is very important,
Mm-hmm.
especially in what type of art that I make as well. So just showcasing that, and being vocal, being a voice, on behalf of our community, being someone that especially the youth can look up to, a great role model. So that's something that I definitely do my best to do, because we need more of that.
Absolutely. Has there ever been a time when someone didn't really understand your connection with your own people and you wanting to be a voice and a support for all of your people that are out there marching? Has there ever been a time where someone was like, well, I wouldn't really do all that. Like, you don't really have to be that politically charged. You don't really have to put that kind of content into your music. Has anyone ever tried to discourage you from using your voice?
I've had moments throughout my life where sometimes you run across people who they try to dim your light, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always been I beat to my own rhythm of my drum,
Yeah.
and I never let that discourage me or take me on a different path. I'm always on the path of where I want to be. So I just always negate all of that, and I
Mm-hmm.
always keep it focused on the art, especially whenever it's time for me to use my voice. If I feel called to do that, I will do that. So I'm always I beat to my own drum.
Now, a term, I did a fellowship at the University of Pittsburgh a couple years ago. It's called the Heinz Fellows Program,
Mm.
where you take about 15 different people who may range from early 20s all the way up to maybe like 40s or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So it's wide ranging, but essentially it's a social justice, it's a urban education fellowship with a social justice focus.
Mm.
And one of the things that we learned about was this term called racial battle fatigue.
Wow.
And I don't know what it means completely, but what I gather just from using context clues is that it's about being tired sometimes of being black and
Yes.
being exhausted. So I
Yes.
wonder, even though you've been willing to use your voice to help out with different causes and amplify what people are really, what you're connected to and what the
Mm-hmm.
people you love are connected to, have there ever been times where you just feel like, I just don't have it today and I can't really be a part of this particular demonstration just because I'm exhausted?
Oh, absolutely. I feel like that. I feel we all have had that sort of fatigue in our lives, especially when it's constantly projected on the media, and you're already fatigued on your day to day experience from
Yeah.
work, from whatever type of personal life. But there are times where I'm just where it's oversaturized, and it's you know s- we've been living this from for centuries now, and it's like, come on, man, are we still dealing with this?
Mm-hmm.
So I just always, whenever I get into those type of those vibes where I feel that type of that mood or that fatigue there, I always try to like translate it into music. I always bring it back to music or some type of art form or dance my way out of it, so that way I can like keep my vibrations on a high frequency, and channel it, into some form of art and creation.
Mm. Now, thinking about what you just said and how you have to channel your energy in order to really to be able to make it every day, because I think a lot of us take for granted that you wake up, you go to work or you go to school and you're just ready to go, but life comes at you, and yeah, you might be Chandra Rhyme, the artist, the multidisciplinary artist, but there's still times where it's like I need to check in with me. So the question I would like to ask you now is, what are some ways that you protect your mental wellness?
Oh gosh. I always gotta have my tea.
All right.
Always gotta have my tea, my herbs, a lot of lavender,
All right.
aromatherapy,
Yeah.
my crystals,
Yeah.
my singing bowls, my journals.
What's a singing bowl?
Oh, it's a bowl, a Tibetan singing bowl, or there are crystals, and you have a stick, and it has it stimulates the root chakra, so bring you back grounded, to ground your energy.
Yeah.
And so I do that anytime I feel like the pressure, we just rise it here. I have to center myself with that. So you just take it and you'll spin it like this, and it has a tone there. It resonates with the earth, and it brings you back into oneness, into peace, and tranquility. So that's what I like to do. Sometimes food. I like to.
Yeah.
I'm a foodie, so
Okay.
I like to cook.
Okay.
Yes.
I was about to ask you if you have a favorite restaurant, but then you said you like to cook, so I don't want to put that on you if you don't really go out like that.
I go out like that,
Okay.
but I don't want all of y'all to be,
Right.
hitting my spot up, and next thing you know, they sold out. So
Right,
I
right.
gotta keep that on the hush hush.
Right, and also we still in the middle of a pandemic, and you don't need the whole hood at your favorite spots. Right. Y'all gotta go somewhere else. All right. Well, I'm glad that you shared that with me, just because I think it's really important. Here's how I view performing. I feel like this might sound a little bit morbid, but I feel like every time a performer releases on stage, whatever their art form is, I feel like a piece of them dies. But I feel like it's not death in a way where we should be like, oh, we should be mourning, but death in a way where it's kind of like, in order for something new to happen, you have to release something. Like if you and your mom are at odds for some kind of reason, you're not seeing eye to eye.
Well, too, it's a transaction of energy as well.
Yeah.
So I'm giving energy to the crowd, and they feed off of that too. So that's that energy transaction, and they're giving back their applause or praise, or how they feel. So it's all that balance of energy there that's going on in that exchange, which is really cool.
And I'm glad that we were able to move past any kind of perceived discrepancy between you and your mom, because I know y'all tight. But I just had to put it out there because you was.
Shouts out to my mom.
Yes. Shouts out to you. Thank you very much for coming. We appreciate your presence, and we also appreciate how you've raised a media savvy daughter who is able to see where the curveballs are coming from the interviewer and sidestepping them with great skill.
Thank you.
That
means a lot. That really does.
Yeah.
I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Doing the right thing. So let's go back to Flint. Flint, we're talking about a lot of different social things.
Yeah.
As we all know, Flint with the water crisis.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, and I don't mean to put you on the spot like you Anderson Cooper or something like that, but can you give us like kind of like an update about like what's going on out there?
Oh my gosh. It's still... They still need access to water, to clean water. I feel like it's still, or at least of what the news that I've come across, it's still an ongoing issue that needs to be resolved. But as far as like my experience with that, I wasn't there at the time living through it because I was in college. But I did have family that was impacted by it, and I did visit, and just the everyday having to get clean water, that access, even bathing, cooking, your basic necessities, your survival resources that if we don't have access to, water is life. Water is something that we need to drink, to be able to function. So it definitely was just heartbreaking to see that, especially to continue to, hear about that as well, that nothing is really being done about it. Shouts out to the artists who are on bigger platforms. I believe Jaden Smith, he had went out to Flint and to, provide some water, clean water to my hometown. So I really appreciate, entertainers that are at that level and can really do something. They can, provide that. But as far as, it really is heartbreaking and saddening.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you were able to let us know what that's been like, and my heart goes out to you as well as all of your family members and loved ones that are still in Flint, that are still
in
battling.
my city, just in general. It's very, there's still things that need to be revamped, for sure.
Well, hopefully with the way things are progressing, as far as like basically when you think about the election or you think about like George Floyd in that situation with Derek Chauvin being found guilty, like hopefully we're seeing that things can change, especially when young people mobilize. So hopefully we can have a similar victory in Flint, Michigan.
I believe so.
All right. Now I would like for you to describe your music in 3 words.
I will have to say confident and relatable. I might have to be one of those people and say 4. All
right, that's cool.
Confident, relatable, chill, and at times impactful as well.
Confident, relatable, chill, and impactful. All right, so we're going to have to write these words down so that people know, like, whenever they hear a Chandra Rhyme project, like, these are the 4 things that they should be looking out for.
Yes.
So let's talk about actually, I have a question about music versus dance, because I know that I saw you perform at Sunfest, some of your videos that are on YouTube, and you did a great job, by the way.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I know this is like forcing somebody to pick like Martin or Malcolm, Jay-Z or Nas or
Michael Jackson or Prince.
Right. But I gotta and that's a hard one. And not to get off into a tangent, I'll just say I have nothing but respect for Prince, because Prince is that dude. But Mike, I'll just say for me personally, because now I've arrived at the place where I don't necessarily say one is better than the other, because they were both so incredible.
And have their strong points as well.
Yeah, but I would say I grew up on Michael. I didn't grow up on Prince, but now that Prince is gone and I've been able to listen to his catalog more and see all the different people, artists that he influenced. Yeah, so it's not even, you're really just splitting hairs if you're talking about Prince versus Michael, who's better. So I'll just say my preference is Mike, but I've grown a greater appreciation for Prince.
Oh yeah, that's a good way to put it, for sure.
Yeah, I got people out there. I don't want them on my head because I said the wrong thing. So, but for you, I have to ask you, even though it might be a difficult choice, is there, between singing and dancing, is there one that you enjoy more, or are they just married together and you can't have one without the other?
That's a hard one.
Yeah.
But
which one has your heart?
Music has my heart.
Okay, got it. All
Only because with dance, and I always point this back to my professor back at Point Park, Jason McDowell, my mentor. He just, when we're moving our body and we're expressing ourselves through movement, it's very, you have a lot of freedom, but this part is not really utilized. And I feel like breathing, yes, but that expression with words and just the freedom of singing, the joyous, the pain in the voice, lyrically, I got to give it to music, only because there's rhythm there. I can use my words to really express how I feel. But that's a very close one for me. And that they're both embodied in my blood, my soul, my spirit. So.
All right. Well, I had to ask you that question just because.
But music.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because I know that you excel at both, and I know
Thank
that
you.
you're welcome, and I know that both of them are essential to your performance style.
Yeah.
However, it is important to prioritize like what is like keep the main thing, and then after you've created the music, the dancing will always be there when you need
Yeah.
it.
And also too, like with dance, in a way where you can have more freedom is through choreography, which I
Hmm.
do have experience with, and but it's just with music, if I hear something, if I get inspired with dance, I'm inspired. I create that movement, but then
Hmm.
I'm relying on. This is before I got into my artistic journey. I'm relying on the percussion to come up with the music or the orchestra.
Hmm.
I lack of better word, the orchestra there. I'm relying on, I don't know, like when we weren't juggling so many hats there,
Hmm.
I'm thinking more so in a sense of creation, uh, movement wise. You're sort of limited if you do not have a musical background. But with music, I can have my own type of freedom. At least for me, I personally feel I have more freedom, music, because I'm telling them how I want my things,
Right.
how I want my music
Right.
to
It,
sound.
it's kind of like looking at a rapper that is really talented, but they need the producer to create the beat so that they have something to rap to in most cases. I mean, I know we got rappers that can go a cappella, and then sometimes people build around the melodies that they create just out of their heads.
Hmm.
But most times the music is driven by the producers or the DJs,
Hmm.
and then the singers or the rappers, they come on and they add their flair to it. But the good thing about you, because you do have the music background in addition to the dancing background, is that you can create your own soundtrack. So when it's time for the casting director to say, and now we'll have a dancing number, can you do that too? What? I got this. I watched the school day scene, between the Jigaboos and whatever the other group was called.
Right.
Like, I got you.
Right.
Or the Wannabes. Right, the
Yeah, the
Wannabes and the
wannabes.
Jigaboos. Right, right, right. All right. Well, I just had to get that out there. So I want you to talk about the preparation that you had to go through in order to get ready for Sunfest.
Oh, Sunstar.
Sunstar. Yes.
Yes,
So
Sunstar.
yes, Yeah, I have it right here too. It says Sunstar Music Festival. So yes.
Mhm.
So please tell me about your preparation for Sunstar.
Yeah, last year we had more prep time
Mm-hmm.
because that's when before COVID happened, we were already in plans of having a live show, in person show. But then we were impacted by COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to do things virtually this time. And it was very intense, but in a good way, is how I
Okay.
would describe that. Because for shooting, it was all live, by the way. For
Mm-hmm.
shooting wise, I got there in the afternoon and didn't get home until I want to say around after midnight. So then I had work the next day. So
Mm.
yeah, so it was intense, but in a good way. And the show came out so beautifully. So
Yeah.
mhm.
The set looked really nice, and I
Yes.
think what I really liked about it is when you kind of black out the back and you use different lighting and
Hmm.
you have like furniture strategically placed, I think it really helps you tell the story that you want to tell
Oh,
with whatever
yes.
songs you
And
perform.
we had freedom to like really express ourselves of how we want the lighting to be and really take direction on how our set is going to flow. So just really having that freedom to, I want to bring this in. I added roses,
Mm.
last minute, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I gotta have that there for my song and do this here and just having that freedom. And shouts out to Kelly Strayhorn as
Yeah,
well for
yeah,
producing that event.
yes.
It was very, very, I had a fun time, and especially just to get a chance to and have the opportunity to be involved with that. Is really, for me, groundbreaking for this city to have more events produced in that way, especially with the quality as well. It was really great.
Absolutely. And one of the things I know that Kelly Strayhorn is good for is making sure that their events are pay what you can. So,
Yes.
or what makes you happy,
Yes.
which is really, really important because we all like art in some form of fashion, but we don't want a
Having
barrier.
access to it.
Yeah, that's important because I think as Black people, we a lot of times I feel like we don't own much in this country. Like, yeah, you can say that you own a house, or yeah, you can say you own your car, but I feel like as far as our ability to really move through, like unimpeded by outside forces, whether they be racism or some kind of discrimination or whatever the case is. Like, I don't know how much we actually own, but when it comes to our art, we've always owned that.
Always, always. We were always the one, and still are, setting the trends. So
Yeah,
it's a beautiful Black thing for sure.
absolutely.